Today, I want to show you how my new favorite recipe for a whole chicken. Hey Joelle, happy Thursday. I already cooked one of these chickens early this morning, and then I'm gonna walk you through how I cooked it because one of these is not enough for my entire family, so we'll have two of them for supper. So I make this in a cast iron skillet. It is delicious, and here's what you're gonna need. You're going to need a big cast iron skillet. So I have this on a hot plate so I can cook it over here because over at the stove there's just not a camera set up. So the biggest cast iron skillet that you have, I think this one's a 10-inch maybe. I really wish I had a bigger one. The smaller the chicken, the better for this recipe actually, because you're not gonna be able to fit a huge chicken into a cast iron skillet. So the smaller the chicken, the better. My handy dandy meat thermometer. This is like my bestest friend because you can't really tell what a chicken is doing on the inside. So a meat thermometer is your best friend, especially one that is remote. So this sits on the stove, this goes inside the oven, and then this will beep at me when it's done. Best thing ever. I use it for my smoker all the time. A really good pair of kitchen shears, and a cast iron skillet. So this is the final, it's dripping, the final result. And then I will just cut this up into segments. When it's time to eat, I'll actually just probably go ahead and cut that up and put it in a can to put it in the fridge for later. So I'm gonna wear gloves. My sister is sending me messages and I can't read what she's sending because I want to be able to pick up the olive oil and stuff, and I don't want to have to keep running over to the sink. So I'm just going to wear a pair of disposable gloves so I don't get chicken germs over everything. Okay, so I'll put these on. All right, so this is a whole chicken. I already took out everything that was inside. Some chickens, if you're new to the whole chicken game, depending on which brand, which store, sometimes they'll be in a bag inside the chicken, and sometimes they're just going to be loose. So what I do is I put a colander in the sink and I cut open the chicken and shake it over top of the colander because I just don't do all of the innards. I know some families eat them or cook with them. I just can't. So again, if you're new to the chicken, this is the breast of the chicken, and then this is the back. So we're going to actually cut along the back of the chicken because we want to smush it flat. So I'm just going to use my kitchen shears and cut along the side of the chicken. And at first I was like, I don't think I can do this. And if you do it a couple times, you're like, oh, this is no big deal. So you can cut out the whole back of the chicken. And I don't have anywhere to throw this, so let me go. I'll just put it on the side. Okay, so you can actually use this to make chicken stock, but my pantry is full of chicken stock right now, so we're just gonna get rid of it. And this does not want to come out. There it goes. This is the not fun part. The eating it is the fun part. Okay, there we go. So then you're gonna flip it over. Can y'all see? I don't know. And so we're gonna push down right here. So we kind of want to flatten this piece of chicken so that it will fit into the skillet better. Okay, so you're gonna want to press, and you'll hear it crack until you kind of get it flat. So see how it's not so roundy here? And there we go. Okay, so you can do all sorts of fancy things with the chicken wings. I just leave them the way they are. So that part is done. I'm gonna get rid of my gloves. So what I'm using on my chicken, and there's so many different flavors and seasonings you can use with this one. I'm just using some olive oil, and this was in my pantry. I don't know if you can read it. It's just a cracked peppercorn and herb rub. And then I'm just gonna use, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze now. So I preheated this pan. This is just a cast iron pan. I am gonna drizzle a tiny little bit of oil in it. And then I am going to put this cracked peppercorn on the chicken. And I'm gonna be really generous with it because I want it to get all over. And then you're gonna stick it skin side down into the hot skillet. Okay, so this skillet is already hot. So I'm gonna spread this olive oil around a little bit. So what we're really doing is we're just crisping up the skin. I hope I can flip this over. This chicken is really floppy. I'm gonna move the cooked chicken so that I don't have to worry about any chicken juice getting on it. And I'm just gonna put it down in there. And we are gonna be Cloroxing this counter, guys. I just dripped chicken juice. So you can see like my chicken's barely fitting into the skillet. It would have been better if I had a larger skillet. And I'm gonna put more seasoning on this side. So it's gonna take, depending on how, let me get rid of this. Depending on how hot your skillet is and how big your chicken is and how much water is in it, it just depends on how fast that it's gonna get super crispy. But you really want to get a really nice color going on the outside of this chicken. This all needs to be washed and Cloroxed. So just let it sit for a few minutes and get really, really crispy. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip the chicken back over into the skillet, into the cast iron skillet, and we're gonna put it in the oven for about 400 minutes, about 400 degrees for about an hour. And this again is where your meat thermometer is super awesome because I don't even have to be in the kitchen while it's cooking. If you wanted to use the backbone that you cut out, just throw it in the slow cooker with some water and some spices. Just Google how to make chicken broth and it will be so easy, and you can use up that last little bit. Okay, this is starting to brown out. Yay. And I love about this is if you had a big enough pan or a small enough chicken, I should have got even smaller chicken, you could add some carrots, some diced potatoes, cut up potatoes around this and cook it all together. One pan dinner. I think we're gonna do rice. I have a bunch of instant rice, so I think we'll just do some rice with gravy. Maybe some rice pilaf, I don't know. But this is taking a long time. It normally doesn't take this long, but I think it's because it was still a little frozen, that there's a lot of extra liquid in this chicken that's coming out before it sears. But I'm just gonna keep it going. So it's super, don't be intimidated by the whole chicken. It's not, if I can cook it, anyone can. You can see it's starting to turn brown, but I really, really, really want to get it a good color. So we'll finish this up. I'm just gonna flip it over in a second. But if I can cook a whole chicken, anyone can cook it. Just tell you that I am not, y'all know, you see, if you're in our Harris Teeter group, you see our what's cooking at your house post. We are not gourmet eaters over here. My kids will happily eat tacos every night of the week, which is what they had last night, by the way. Tacos. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over so you can see it's not all the way as brown as I want it to be, but I'm just super hot. I would let this go longer if I didn't need to get off of here and run some errands. But stick this as it is because a cast iron can go into the oven. Stick it as it is into the oven and let it go for about an hour. And use the meat thermometer so it tells you exactly when it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven. I'm going to get off live and throw this in the oven. And I'll post the recipe on Moolah Saving Mom in case you need it. But I definitely would have let this brown up a little longer if I wasn't live and boring you guys with this. So I'm going to